Mitchell Devine writes, "Hi, Mr. Whittle. This will be my first Stratosphere Lounge watching live, and I can't wait." Thank you very much, Mitchell. It's good to have you here. My question is, when arguing with progressives, the basis of their rebuttal is that of social justice. How can conservatives repudiate this unsubstantiated sanctimony and facade of well-being? That's a great question. One of the things I've been saying forever is that the coin of the progressive realm, the thing that drives them, is unearned moral superiority. It's the unquenchable desire to appear better than other people and smarter than other people, but mostly better, mostly morally superior. There's a much better term that came out lately, and it's virtue signaling, and I think virtue signaling, the first time I heard it, I said that's a perfect expression. You have to understand, I think, that if you try to get into the psychology of these hardcore progressives, you got to think about this. They're not allowed to compete. Making more money than somebody else is not on the table for them. Living a better life with a nicer car or a nicer house is not on the table for them. And yet, every human being has a sense of social status, and they want to show their social status. But as progressives, they can't do it through money, and they can't do it through achievement because they're too lazy or they're too stupid to go out and achieve things. So how do they get a sense of their social position and social rank, and how do they climb through the ranks? And they do it through virtue signaling. They do it to see who can show. They think it's to show conservatives. It's not. It's to show each other. It's like women saying, "What do you think of of these new earrings or these shoes?" And most guys go, "Oh, they're very nice." It's like, wouldn't have noticed it. A lot of times, I think women dress to impress other women, and they say they're doing it for the men, but the men don't really notice it or either much care. So these progressives are doing their virtue signaling thing, and so it's a question of who can top each other. So to answer your first part of your question, Mitchell, is you got to understand why they do what they do. And if you understand why they do what they do, then you can understand a way to beat them. So anytime you hear any one of their arguments, you have to go for the virtue signaling and the unearned moral superiority. And then you have to show that they're hypocrites and that we are actually better at the moral case. They used to make an emotional argument, and then we would reply with facts and figures and history. I don't do that anymore. It's a waste of my time. They just don't care. They would rather be feeling good about doing bad than feeling bad about doing good. So I hit them where they live. I hit them where they're weak. I go right to their virtue signaling and their unearned moral authority. I drive a Prius, and you drive a Camaro. And then I will say, okay, let me make sure I understand this. You drive a car that gets 34 miles per gallon, and I drive a car that gets 26 miles per gallon, and you're saving the planet, and I'm having our children burn. Is that right? Is that what you're saying? Even if you drive 2 or 3 times further than me every day? Even if you're putting out more carbon, you're a better person because your car gets more miles per gallon than mine does? How do you ring that? What is it about third world people, about brown people, that you hate so much? Why do you hate brown people as much as you do? Because you're obviously determined to make sure that all the brown people in South America and a lot of the black people in Africa, they're never going to have a chance to get into the kind of civilization that we have, because you're not going to let them have any energy, and you're not going to let them have any industry. You're not going to let them have any capitalism. You love the idea of the natives in the Amazon running around with a banana a banana leaf around their waist, and you're mortified when you see them wearing Western clothes like shorts and T-shirts. And yet you've never had to go around wearing a banana sling, and you've never had to realize how comfortable cotton really is until you've had to wear something that's made out of tree bark. So why do you hate these people so much? And then you've got them. You've got them. You kick them right in their moral signaling. When people were talking to me about Obamacare recently, I said, let me ask you something. Why is it that Democrats hate people so much and love cars so much? Now, see, when you say something like that, they literally do that Star Trek Norman coordinate kind of thing, and smoke tendrils start coming out of their ears. What do you mean? The Republicans are the ones who love cars, and that's the Democrats who love people. No. Why do the Democrats hate people so much and love cars so much? What do you mean? What I mean is, I'm a person, if I want to get insurance, I have a choice of 3 plans. They're all overpriced. The deductibles are so high that it's not insurance. A $5,000 deductible is not insurance for most people. Most people can't make a $5,000 deductible. So I have a choice of 3 things on this government market. I have 3 choices, and they all suck. That's because I'm a person, and the Democrats hate people. That's why they passed Obamacare. But my car, on the other hand, my car has hundreds of choices. My car can decide whether or not it wants to have a high deductible, low deductible. My car can decide how much coverage it's going to have. My car can decide what kind of payments it wants. My car has hundreds of people competing for it because my car is old enough. Apparently, my car is mature enough and human enough to make a decision. My car decides whether or not it wants the uninsured motorist coverage. And my car is allowed to decide what degree of coverage it wants because Democrats love my car much more than they love me. I have a choice of 3 things. My car is a choice of hundreds of things. So why is that? Why do you hate people so much? Got to know your stuff, though, Mitchell. You know, you get into the race issues and you start saying things like, see, when they talk about race and they talk about, conservatives being racist, it's like, look, the Democratic Party not only was the party of slavery in the Civil War, yeah, but they changed sides. Really? Okay. The Democratic Party today is the largest slave-holding organization on the planet. There's 30 million people that they hold in slavery. And now we're not talking about plans and we're not talking about welfare. We're talking about the immorality of keeping an entire section of the population enslaved for the purposes of their political power. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Jesse Jackson and Sharpton and all the rest are willing to condemn an entire race of people to perpetual slavery in order to stay in political power. They will give them crap phones and crap cars and crap transportation, crap housing in exchange for the vote. They work on a vote plantation, and they've been utterly dehumanized by this dependency. You basically, the Democrats sit there on a street corner at elementary school and say, "Here, kid, here's some crack. No, the first one's for free. Just see what you like." They're going out there and they are making people addicts to their entitlement, and they don't care that this destroys their lives. They just want the political power so they can travel in big jets and limousines because they're not smart enough or hardworking enough to go get these things on their own. That's another thing you need to understand about them, Mitchell. The reason they want political power is because they want the same things that rich people do, but they don't want to work for them. So if a guy's got a private jet and travels around with a chauffeured limousine, but he produces a job that pays 50,000 salaries, he's earned his limousine. On the other hand, somebody like Sharpton or somebody like Joe Biden or whatever, they want to ride in limousines and private jets too. What have they produced for people? Nothing. They've taken stuff from people. They just produce drag. They're just slugs. They're barnacles. So you got to hit them right where they live. You just absolutely have to hit them right where they live. And I don't take it from them. And what you'll find is, if you really want to start arguing with these people, you have to look at how they behave versus what they say they do. And that's where you can really pin them to the wall. Because if you look at their behavior and present their behavior back to them, that drives them nuts. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I covered this ground quite a bit, but just as one example, one guy, a progressive kid, said to me once, you can't possibly defend the idea that a guy could have 3 houses, 5 houses. That's disgusting. I mean, you can't live in 3 houses at the same time. There are homeless people in this country. How can you possibly defend that kind of wealth and that kind of heartlessness? And I said to the guy, look, dude, how many songs do you have on your phone? Why do you want to? Just tell me. I don't know, 750? Okay. Do you listen to all 750 songs at the same time? Couldn't you get by on 50 songs? Every song, round numbers, costs about $1 to download. Why couldn't you have downloaded 50 songs for yourself and sent $700 to needy people so they could pay their rent and get them, educations and all the rest of it? And that's when the smoke starts coming out of their ears, because they know that there's no response to this. You basically say, you are doing the exact same thing as the guy who's got the 5 houses. You are spending money on yourself for things that you want. He's got more money than you do, but he's doing the exact same thing. You could be taking the money that you spent on these songs. You'll never listen to all of these songs at the same time, and you probably haven't listened to many of them for many years. You could have taken that money and helped poor people with it, but you didn't. You used it selfishly for songs that you don't need. And then you say, I don't want to be living in a world where some guy you don't know can tell you how much music you can have on your iPhone. And you shouldn't want to live in a world like that either. But your behaviors are exactly the same for the exactly same motivation. You're taking your money and you're spending it on what you want to for yourself. And then they're done. I could hammer this one all day, but I think that's probably enough of an answer. Hope it gets you started there, Mitchell. Good to have you here.